The phrase malnutrition in Vietnam tends to elicit images of stunted children in impoverished towns. But did you know that there's also a silent epidemic of malnutrition in hospitals? In fact, a staggering 20 to 50% of patients in hospitals worldwide are malnourished. So what causes this? Do you remember the last time you felt really sick and lost your appetite? Well, that's what happens in patients too, but there are a multitude of other factors. In Vietnam, it's exacerbated by the fact that most hospitals don't have a food service or dietitians. So families bring in food like rice gruel, and a typical Vietnamese diet is 2/3 the calories of the Western norm. Many of us would love to shed a few kilos to fit into those jeans. But this is different from malnutrition in these frail patients, which causes a cascade of effects across every domain of their well-being, from weaker immunity to poor wound healing and even death. While there's no data from Vietnam, hospital malnutrition costs the US healthcare system $18 billion annually. With Vietnam's aging population, hospital infrastructure is ill-equipped to manage this extra burden. Malnutrition is preventable, but it must first be recognized. Yet there's only been one published study from Vietnam which revealed high rates of malnutrition at 56% in surgical patients. Now this is why my research is important, as it's one of the first in Vietnam to provide the evidence for malnutrition in both medical and surgical wards and explore its association with other risk factors. Now I don't know Vietnamese, so translators will help me assess 200 adult patients in a Ho Chi Minh City hospital. But how will I measure malnutrition? The Subjective Global Assessment, or SGA, is the gold standard tool. It involves firstly a questionnaire about medical history, such as food intake and weight changes, and secondly, a physical assessment of a gentle pinch or feel in different areas of the body to look for fat or muscle wasting. Patients are then classified as either well-nourished, moderately, or severely malnourished. I will also measure mid-arm circumference to check for muscle mass and look for medical records to investigate whether there's a relationship between malnutrition and age, gender, length of stay, number of drugs, and medical diagnoses. In summary, despite huge advances in medicine and technology, hospital malnutrition remains a widespread problem. Have you ever heard of the famous saying by Hippocrates, "Let food be your medicine"? It couldn't be more true in this case. Hopefully, my research will act as a springboard for future interventions to ensure that patients in Vietnam are well nourished and given the best possible chance of recovery. Thank you.